Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. So we finished verse 15 of chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita last time, and that was in that verse Krishna Bhagavan said, having attained me, is merging with that Brahman, these Mahatmas, the great souls, do not again take birth. So the word Punarjanma was used in that verse, which we, in India, we use that a lot, which is the house of pain and non-eternal. So Dukkhale, that was the main word, and Ashashvatam, non-eternal, they having reached the highest perfection, moksha. So that's what we did last time. And this time, we are on verse 16. And the verse is, Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punravartino arjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. So, Abrahma bhuvanat. They're talking about Brahma lok, the highest lok, up to the world of Brahmaji. And loka is worlds. Punah avartina. Avarti, lord ke aa jana. Punah is again. So subject to rebirth. That's another word for rebirth. Punarjanma. Means you वापस लौटना पड़ेगा वहाँ. That's what they're saying. Arjun, O Arjuna. Mam, to me. Upetya, having attained. So Mam upetya means having attained me, means having that moksha or self-realization. Tu, but. Kaunteya is another name of Arjun, Kunti Putra, Kaunteya. Punarjanma, again the word Punarjanma has come, rebirth. Na is not, Vidyate is. Punarjanma nahi hoga. So, what are the different points here? So, firstly, they have used the word lokaha. So, loka is a very interesting word in Sanskrit. It means, the people who know Sanskrit, I don't know it very well, little bit. Lokyate iti lokaha means the experience, what world of experiences. That's what we have. And when we went to Mandukya Upanishad, we saw that we have 3 different experiences in 24 hours. So that's how those are the experiences that we have. So, and when they are talking about experiences in the world, over here they are talking about experience in the whole cosmos. Not just 24 hours of this life, but all different experiences. And there are so many different lokas. Now they are trying to figure out the modern science that, hey, are there other planets and are there other beings on it? And there is so much hoopla about UFOs, other beings, whatever it is. And if there are billions and billions and gazillion stars, so why not other lokas? So from the science point of view also, it's feasible. But here in our Shastra, so they are very openly talk about different lokas. So our loka is called the Bhuloka. Or isko Mrityu Lok bhi bolte hain. Because we have a physical body and that dies and all that. So, but there are so many other lokas we routinely talk about. Swarg Lok, Nark Lok. Wo to sabhi, sorry, I have a spill here. Okay. All right. They are talking about, Swarg and Nark Loka, other religion also talk about. But then we have those, classical division is that you have 7 lokas below and 7 above, they call it, And below, they call it, Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Rasatal, Patal, and all that. You've heard of all these in the stories. And then there are other 7 lokas high, but these are just general qualification, okay? Doesn't mean that those are exact numbers, because within that also there could be so many varieties. So there are, basically what they're trying to say is that there are different levels of consciousness is there from the highest perspective. That's how we have to look at it. And we experiences these world in different way. There, you can call it different layers are there. And if you really go in nitty gritty, even on this earth, people's experiences are different. We were talking about each one have their own universe like that we experience, and it depends on so many factors. Very gross level, you can say economic factors could be there, or different situations in people's lives and all that. Everybody experiences their own world, to say. So in this vast cosmos, even just the bhuloka ko le lo, there are, you can call it millions of lokas out there in different categories and all that. So what here he's saying is, the word he has used over here is Abrahma Bhuvana Lokaha. So that means up to the world of Brahmaji. Brahmaji is the creator. When that Brahman has three different functions, when it wants to express itself, it starts with Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So Brahmaji is the creator. So जो creator होता है ना, उसका लोका सबसे supreme, among the creation, world of experience माना जाता है. And so it is also part of sansar only. When we say sansar, somehow we get stuck on just thinking of the earth. But from the Vedantic perspective, within the sansar, even the Brahmalok comes. Okay, and that is the highest loka, just like here and on the earth, Mount Everest is the highest peak. So that way you can say that is the highest. And so what Krishna Bhagavan is saying in this shloka is that up to the Brahmaloka, all lokas are punaravartin. He used the word. Punaravartin means you have to come back from there. It's not a permanent. So like in America, the permanent residence, no, it's not permanent residence. Nobody gets permanent residency in these lokas. They're all temporary. Okay? And on earth, nobody needs to tell us that we are not permanent residents over here. And Nikhil Anandji was joking. He said that तुम्हारा घर relatively speaking, permanent हो सकता है, तुम permanent नहीं हो. वो तो घर भी तो जाने वाला एक दिन, but at least relatively speaking, घर रहेगा, हम चले जाएंगे. So many times, he's saying that people make so many arrangements, ये वो ना हंगामा करते हैं, but हमको यही नहीं मालूम कि हम when we quit from here, which loka we're going to end up. We don't know what's going to happen, because there are millions of varieties out there. So he was just giving a worldly example. He's saying it's like a dream. I don't know what I'm going to see in my dream tonight. Maybe some enlightened people might know what they're going to see. We ordinary people don't know. I have no clue. So when we go to sleep, suddenly some dream comes. So he gave a worldly example. So that's possible. And then he was talking about whoever knows about Yog Vashishta. Yog Vashishta is a conversation between Sri Ram and his guru, Vashishta ji, when he was a teenager. And Yog Vashishta has all the Brahma Vidya in it on that conversation. Because Ramchandra ji wanted to know, about everything. So, Yog Vashishta they talk about various worlds. And then how they equate them to the dream world. How different lokas are there. So, and then you may experience an entire lifetime in a dream too. People see all kind of long dreams. Oh, this happened, that happened, unmarried person feels like he got married and had many children, and vice versa, all kinds of things. So all these lokas they are talking about, they have punar avartin. So they are just world of experiences. That's about it. So one goes there and has to shift to some another world from there. And and then Bhagavan says in this verse, He Kaunteya, Mama Upetya, but the one who attains me, he does not have to go anywhere. He is not born again. Punarjanmana vidyate. For that person, there is no more birth. No more coming into sansar and being bound by it. That's the thing, And so that person becomes free. Why? Because God is free. He becomes one with God. And that condition, is called by so many different names. And we have discussed it. It's called moksha, nirvana, liberation, self-realization, mukti. There are other Vedantic words. Kaivalya bhi bolte hain usko. freedom from sansar bhi bolte hain, freedom from birth and death also, enlightenment, salvation, and in the other languages, Christianity and all, final beatitude they call it. And there is one more word, nishreyas, also is used in Vedantic language. So these are all the same word, means the highest state. So besides merging with God, rest of the worlds are bound by time and space, and they are temporary. Okay, so this is what this verse is, simpler verse. And in the next verse, Bhagwan is going to take up the topic a little further, and it will talk about why and how these worlds are temporary, because they are bound by time and space. And how much time he's going to say. And I think that Joe had already put that long thing about time, the most exhaustive thing he put, So that little concept is going to come, concept of time, that how these worlds are bound. And it's a very interesting topic, concept of time. Because how Nikhilananji was saying, it is almost in tune with the scientific discoveries, latest discoveries that they come up with the conclusions, and in the time frame also kind of fits. I think they say that universe was 13.5 billion years. Sometimes they change a little bit back and forth, as they keep discovering more stuff, that Big Bang theory and all that, when it came into being. And you will see how the Vedanta talks about it is very interesting. So our scriptures also talk about all these things. So how I was saying that Bhagavad Gita, every topic is covered. Because sometimes, if you don't, that also people have a lot of questions about it. When did the universe come into being? How long? And it's a cyclic thing, in our Vedanta. So that's what this verse is about. So now if somebody has any question, this is a very good time to ask. Any question, comment, or anyone wants to say?
Just a comment. When you mention different level of consciousness and different lokas, now my loka is dependent upon the consciousness. Is that what we're calling loka? Or, have the different people have the consciousness being the same, the sharpness in the consciousness is what we're talking about, or the clarity or the purification we're talking about. So would you call Loka as the one who has sort of at the merging point? Let me put it that way. Would you call that, or is it a different Loka completely with different type of bodies and all that?
All the above that you mentioned probably encompasses this. So, for example, like Swarga Loka, they say that you don't have the physical body there. That's why the pain and old age and all that kind of thing that we have to suffer, we don't have in Swarga Loka. So that pain is not there. But the other mental afflictions are in Swarga Loka also. That's why in all the stories, Indra Bhagwan is jealous, he's going after other women, this, that, you see that, right? So when they talk about Loka over here, the more what they are pointing out is toward the experience of different things. When it comes to expression of consciousness, in our Bhuloka, somebody can reach the highest state, the Jivan Mukti, right? But in certain other places, like Swarga Lok, Jivan Mukti, my understanding, it's not possible because it's just a vacation place where you are having a good time and all that. And then after your vacation time is over, you will be thrown back on earth.
Yeah.
And there may be some other similar places like earth where you have to go through the grind again to wake up,
Yes.
So there is a lot packed into this. So when they're talking about lokas, just think of it as different worlds. That's
altogether different.
Yeah, just different experiences. Yeah.
Okay. But you cannot attain mukti in those except Brahma Loka.
Yeah, Brahma Loka you can, and maybe some other places who may be similar to earth, maybe, there could be, Bhulok, there could be other Bhuloks also. But Swarga Loka, they have made it very clear that wahan par nahi mil sakti mukti. You have to come back. Yes, Samir ji.
Okay. And the second.
Oh, sorry. Let Meena ji finish and then we'll come back.
Big Bang Theory. even before that happened, consciousness was there.
Yes, and they at one time I think they were not accepting the consciousness, and now under the weight of the evidence they're forced to accept that there is something beyond the physical world. And there are so many the scientists and all, and they are coming in, and even Einstein, he quotes about God and things like that. It's just, hey, if there is a creation, there has to be a creator. Like somebody was saying that you cannot just throw something in the air and it explodes and come down and becomes a city. There is an organization and there is an intelligence, and so it's coming from somewhere, and that is the highest state. Yes.
Thank you.
Samirji,
Can you hear me?
yeah, Tejji, let me talk to Samirji. He had raised his hand, and then I'll come to you. Yes, Samirji. No, we can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself. Yeah, there you go.
Can you?
Yes, now we can.
I think in this shloka, Krishna Bhagavan is referring to all the worlds that are there in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And all those worlds have the whole world, everything in this has a birth and death. Even the world, not just people like us who are on one of the worlds. And so he's mentioning about Abrahma Bhuvan Loka, means all the worlds in this universe that we see, there is a cycle. The only one is the one which is Parabrahma Loka, which is beyond this. Once that's the one you reach to, like you mentioned, after so many births, you reach there and then you don't come back.
True, but one caution I want to tell you, that from that perspective, we might think that you cannot reach that state while being on the earth, and that's not what Chinmayananji is very clear about it, that while you're on this earth, you can have Jivan Mukti, you can reach that Brahmaloka. So that's what I want to say.
Yes, and, absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely. That could be your last birth. That's the one.
Yes.
Last birth.
It can happen. Yes.
And once you reach that self-realization, and then if there is 6 months left to live, you are living like a Brahmin.
Right. You're living like God upon earth. Right. Okay. So we are on the same page. Yes. Good. Okay. Tejji.
So, I like this consciousness. When one is conscious, suppose when we go to sleep, we think we are not conscious.
Okay, before you go further, that they are not talking about that kind of consciousness, because that's where we always get confused. We think that conscious means I'm aware of something. Yes, that part is coming from that consciousness, no doubt. But when Vedanta talks about consciousness, it talks about a factor which is beyond mind, body, and intellect and everything. It is untouched.
Beyond the resolution of the brain, mind, I would say.
Say that again?
Beyond the resolution of the intellect.
Yes, beyond the intellect, everything, and beyond the physical brain. Physical brain is just a machine that expresses the subtle body. That's about it. Even subtle body gets charged by that consciousness. I mean, it's hard to have example, but it's like electricity and the equipment. Electricity is separate from the equipment, but equipment cannot work without electricity. Same way, consciousness is primary. Because in the West, for the longest time, they were thinking that consciousness is a byproduct of the brain, and our Vedanta is opposite. They say the consciousness is primary, everything else comes from it. But now they are forced to think like Vedantic way, because their theories don't match.
The Shakti? The
consciousness has a power, yes, and the power of consciousness is called Maya. Or you can call it Shakti or Devi or whatever you want to call. It's like consciousness is dividing into two, Purush and Shakti, So we have, when you go through the basic Vedantic concept, then they will show you how the world came into existence. So when we did our Kathopanishad, we learned that and all that. So yeah, that's how it is.
No, actually, in one of the meetings we had somebody asked a question that he was an astrologist. He said, when we put a person to unconscious state and giving the proper chemical dose. The question was, is he really unconscious?
No, I mean, it depends on what the definition of unconscious. Yeah, his connection with his, body and even mind may be broken, because sometimes when they are in that state, they even go in the subtle world and they have all kind of experiences, because that's why out of body experience and all. It's a very big, large subject.
But you already answered that it is the subtlety of that thing which is beyond the resolution of mind or beyond the resolution of common intellect, which once realizes that, then he is conscious of things. Then it has a chance of consciousness to merge in the universal consciousness, which we call as now moksha or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's a universal consciousness.
It's very scary and dangerous also. I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, it will get clear as we continue.
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Shall we read now? Any volunteers? Sheila ji, you want to read?
Everybody can hear me?
Yeah.
Worlds up to the one, O Brahmaji, are subject to rebirth. O Arjuna, but he who reaches me, O Kunti, has no birth. It is a characteristic technique often employed by the teacher in the Geeta to bring home his ideas, that he expresses them for purposes of emphasis against the background of their opposites. Thus we find here in the verse two contradictory factors put in an opposition with each other so that each as a contrast to the other may shine, but the best in the mental horizon of the students. Up to the realm of Brahma, all the subject to rebirth. This idea is contrasted with the result of realizing directly and totally the self, the eternal. But after attaining me, there's no birth.
No rebirth. Yeah. So here just Swamiji is explaining that what the technique that Krishna Bhagwan employed over here is giving you two opposites. There's, hey, एक जगह rebirth होता है, दूसरी जगह नहीं होता है. So he's just telling you that up to the world of Brahma ji, there is a rebirth. Brahma lok में पहुंचने के बाद, like our teacher used to explain, Brahma ji has to give you that gyan. You still have to learn the Brahma Gyan and you have to still do the sadhana there, because if you don't do it, then again you will be thrown back. But if you Brahma ji se seekh lo, to fir tumko mukti wahan se bhi mil sakti hai. It's called krama mukti, going. But there is a chance on the earth, according to Vedanta, where you can directly go. Rocket में बैठ के सीधा पहुंच गए, बैलगाड़ी में बैठने की जरूरत नहीं है. That's what they are trying to say.
The theory of gradual liberation, karma mukti, accepted in Vedanta, say that ritualism karma, accompanied by a meditation, upasana, takes the ego to the realm of the creator, Brahmlok, where at the end of the kalpa, the cycle of creation and dissolution, it merges with the Supreme. Even in Brahmaloka, it is necessary that the ego must, through self-effort, live strictly all the spiritual advices of the Creator. And though constant contemplation upon the self, Vikara, come to deserve the total liberation by ending all the connection with ignorance. Thus, it is not all those who reach the realm of the Creator that come to enjoy the supreme merger. Some of them will have to, at the end of the kalpa, come back and take their manifestation in embodiments ordered by their remaining vasanas. This principle is kept in mind when Krishna says that rebirth is to everyone, even to those who have attained the Brahmaloka. Should I continue?
No, in my book there is a one more line. Having once reached Brahmaloka, there is no return, but from there the meditator rises to merge in the self. So this is what. So you can see on the beginning of the paragraph itself, krama mukti, and the next is through the rituals of, that is karma. So krama and karma are two words. Krama mukti means gradual liberation. Belgadi wala liberation. And one is that rocket wala, you directly pahunch jao. So what he was trying to say, that with ritualism and meditation and upasana and all that, you can keep rising. That's why I don't say ki punya karma karo. Punya se fir swarg lok milega. Okay? So something like that. So basically what he's trying to say is that up to the Brahmalok, you can still return. Like we were discussing, that even Brahmalok, you have to get the gyan from Brahmaji. You have to be interested in that mukti over there. If you are not interested even in Brahmalok, wahan se bhi lautna pad sakta hai. So, but Krishna Bhagwan बोल रहे हैं अर्जुन को, लेकिन जो मुझे प्राप्त कर लेता है फिर उसका पुनर्जन्म नहीं होता है. So then you have to decide, hey, do you want a direct path or you want a gradual path? It's like, somebody wants to go from San Diego to New York, and somebody will want to just go in the plane and straight get down. And others say, no, I like to go in a car and I want to see all the scene, which is fine too. There's no good way or bad way, it's your choice. But both are available with whatever you want to do. But you have to work towards that.
But to those who have awakened to the rediscovery of their essential eternal nature and realized themselves to be the one all-pervading self, after attaining me, to them thereafter there's no return to the plane of the limited existence. To the waker there's no readmission to the realm where he was when he was dreaming. To awake is to miss forever the joy and sorrow of the dream which he had dreamt. After attaining the waterhood me, there's no return rebirth into the dreamland samsara.
Yeah, so here Swamiji is giving an example. First, he's saying that what does that mean to reaching that? When we have awakened to the rediscovery of the essential, eternal nature. So awakened and established, that's another thing that we have to think. We have to be established in it, all pervading some. That is called attaining me. And then he gave a beautiful example. It's like after, when we are dreaming and when we wake up, we cannot go back to our dream, can we? No matter how much we try. I don't know if some people dream the same things again, that may be exception. But usually if I see a dream, I cannot go back to it. Once I wake up, finish. So he's just saying that's such a beautiful example. Once you get awakened, no re-entry into it. You're done. You're awake now. All that dream pain, all the dream thing, everything gone. विलीन हो गया, जिसको बोलते हैं हिंदी में. Disappeared. Merge हो गया. So this is a pretty simple one, but still has a lot packed in it, like every other shloka. Any other question, comment, any doubts, or anybody want to add anything to this? Yes, Sheilaji.
Umaji, it is very surprising today. I was listening the lecture of Hare Krishna, which they do in the morning, Bhagavatam, and they were discussing almost the same thing which we have today.
It happens, yes.
It's so surprising,
Whatever you need, that comes in your lap. So this is what happens.
I really don't know. When I read the verse, I said, oh my God.
It's the same one.
I listened the whole lecture, and maybe more than half I listened, and they were explaining the same from Bhagavatam.
Right. Sometimes, you go to kisi Mahatma ko sunne jao na, so you had some question, some problem in your head. And if after the lecture, all the answers you get. And then you say, was he talking to me? It's like God has sent you there to get your answers, Because that's why all these great souls and all that, unki value isliye hai ki bhai, it's like they're like God's representative on this earth, to help us. Yeah, so even these kind of things that come in your lap, it's ordered by a higher self only.
I was so amazed, when I was reading the verse.
Great.
Thank you, Aji, explaining very nicely.
Any other comment, question? Yeah, Naresh ji.
मुझे मीना जी बोल रही थी ना डिफरेंट लोगों के बारे में, मुझे वो चौपाई याद नहीं है। रामायण के अंदर काक विशुंडी जी बताते हैं कि वो कितने कितने लोगों में जाके रह के आए।
राइट। तो वही मैं कहती हूँ कि हम लोग जो लोग ये लोग साइंटिफिक डिस्कवरी अभी हो रही है एंड ऑल दैट, अभी दे हैव सेंट आउट दैट क्या बोलते हैं वो बड़ा वाला टेलीस्कोप एंड आउट इज एंड देन सडनली दे से वाओ, उनके जितने भी थियरीज है वो सब चेंज होती जाती है एंड ऑल दैट, पर वो जितनी चेंज होती है ना, इट्स कमिंग क्लोजर टू अवर वेदांता ओनली। उनके जो डिस्कवरी हो रही है, इन लोगों को सब कुछ मालूम था पहले, and these people, they have the capacity to travel between the lokas also in the subtle form, subtle world. Physically you cannot go, but from the subtle part, and there are people who have those experiences even today on this earth. And I was talking to you about the outer body experience, and all. Some people might just, they are just making it up. But when you listen to their accounts, you realize that they are not making it up. And they always say that the other realm is more vibrant, more strong, more feeling at home. So we think that we have such great experience on the earth. This is the lowest kind of experience actually. तो इसको मृत्यु लोक बोला गया. I think उससे low is पाताल में. If you go other jivas, which don't experience obviously, but there's a lot more to experience. But what Krishna Bhagavan is saying is pretty remarkable. He's saying that you can reach the highest from here. It's hard for us to imagine. And once you reach that highest, you have all the experience together anyway. You're not missing anything. Because one of the problems that we might think, if I don't see this, I don't experience it, will I miss anything? No. Like, how can you miss when you are know-it-all? Right? How can you miss that? It's very hard for us to imagine, but that's the promise given by Lord Krishna here.
ये काक विशुंडी जी 2 बार बताते हैं गरुड़ जी को, बोले एक बार तो मैं परम लोक तक गया तो वापस आया यहाँ पे, उसके बाद बता रहे हैं कितने लोगों में कितने साल रहा वहाँ.
इंटरेस्टिंग. सो ये जो अपनी जो रामायण और महाभारत की कहानियां क्या, दिस इज हिस्ट्री. सो whatever it is Vedanta only, but in a practical form. That's what it is. And when we come back to Taittriya Upanishad, you will see that how Swamiji is going to explain that Taittriya Upanishad, the Shikshavalli is very much the practical part of Vedanta. How you should live life to get the maximum. So ek to hai ki we are learning Bhagavad Gita because, we want to know and all that. But one is, actually getting that joy by living the, thing the way Lord Krishna is telling us. So that's the part. So even though this is early, but I can stop Bhagavad Gita here and go to Taittriya, because Taittriya has a lot bigger thing to discuss. The commentaries are not a little longer, but this supports everything over here anyway. So it's going to be the same. So is there any other question or comment related to Bhagavad Gita right now?
I just had a request to make of Naresh ji. आप जो बात अभी कह रहे हैं कि कितने लोगों में गए और कितने टाइम के लिए रुके, if you can find out those details and during discussion time, if you can थोड़ा उसको और डिटेल में explain करेंगे तो I would love that.
आप यदि चाहती तो मैं आपको चौपाइयाँ पढ़ देता हूँ.
वो डिस्कशन टाइम में कर दीजिएगा, क्योंकि अभी तो क्लास इंटरप्ट नहीं करनी है. So if you can please do that during discussion time, I will really appreciate it.
Okay, so we can do after the Taittriya, but that's what you're saying, that we used to have that old style of having a yes. Okay, sounds good.
अभी ना उसको ढूंढ लेता हूँ.
आप ढूंढ लीजिए.
आप अगली क्लास में भी कर सकते हैं, मतलब whenever convenient to you.
अगर आपको आज मिल गया तो आप आज ही कर दीजिए, और नहीं मिला तो अगले क्लास में.
कहाँ पे है वो? तो I have a good idea कि कहाँ पे वो काक विशुंडी जी बताते हैं, तो I can just find it out. उसको मैं आप डिस्कशन टाइम में पढ़ दूंगा.
अच्छी बात है. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. All right. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।